Hello Ape Army, and welcome to another critical maintenance video, this time detailing how to change out your rear brake pads and rotors. With the proper tools, swapping in new pads and rotors is an exceptionally easy task. Dealer pricing on rotor and pad replacement can be absolutely eye-watering, while doing it yourself can save a good amount of money that can be put towards future modifications. As I mentioned, you'll need a few tools to accomplish the swap. I've included links in the video description to just about everything that you'll need. First and most important is the Rotech VCDS. This is an incredibly powerful diagnostics, maintenance, and logging tool which interfaces with the car through the OBD port. You'll want to purchase the Hex V2 USB interface, which for $199 comes with 3 licenses for use on 3 different Audi vehicles. If you want more licenses, that's an option. You'll also need a Windows-based laptop. And while $199 is neither cheap nor super expensive, it is the first modification every RS5 owner should purchase. Its ability to help diagnose any potential issues is worth its weight in Bitcoin. A caliper or pad spreader is also a good investment if you're planning to reuse the rear discs and not replace them. There are several different styles which will work for either the front or the rear brake calipers. For pads, I chose Carbotech's excellent 1521 street pads. I've been using these pads for years and have yet to find something better. They check all the boxes for braking feel, power, and dusting. They're also made here right in the USA. There are numerous rotor offerings for the RS5. From the OE replacement one-piece rotors to 2-piece semi and full floating rotors. I went with the JH Motorsport's excellent 2-piece semi-floating rear rotors. They are lighter than the original rotors, have improved cooling vanes, and the rings are replaceable if they wear out. This is a great cost-saving feature. And the cost savings on these rotors versus the other 2-piece rotors was enough to cover the cost of the brake pads. In full disclosure, I purchased these prior to becoming a JH Motorsports dealer. It really was a no-brainer for me, and yes, I can get you a deal on these rotors. A battery charger hooked up to your battery is also a necessity. Because the parking brake is an electromechanical unit, the voltage must be kept above a certain point to keep from damaging the module which controls it. I have an anti-gravity lightweight lithium-ion battery installed, along with a comfort harness which allows the charger to easily plug into the battery charging circuit. No alligator clips needed. Time to use the VCDS to retract the parking brake so the caliper can be serviced. Plug the VCDS into your laptop and into the OBD port below your steering wheel. Turn the car's ignition on to the accessory position. Your engine should not be running. Launch the program and on the main screen click Select under Select Control Module. On the next screen, select 3 ABS brakes. In that module, select 04 Basic Settings. A pop-up window will warn of the need to use a battery charger or risk damaging the parking brake module. Click OK if the battery charger is connected to the car. Under Basic Settings, select the pull-down menu at the top of the window. Look for Start Lining Change Mode and select it. With the Start Lining Change Mode listed, hit Go. Running should appear in the white box and you should be able to hear the parking brake whirring and disengaging fully. Running turns into not running, and finally you'll see Finished correctly. Importantly, wait 30 seconds before closing out of this window per Rotech's recommendation. With the parking brake retracted, remove the rear wheel. Find the brake fluid reservoir just behind the firewall at the front of the vehicle. Unscrew the cap and using a large syringe, remove some of the brake fluid from the reservoir. This will prevent overflow when the rear caliper pistons are pushed back into their housing, displacing the fluid behind them. Because I am not reusing my rotors, I used a screwdriver and then a small pry bar to push the caliper pistons back into the caliper housing. It's fairly simple, just place your tool of choice in between the pad facing and the rotor, not in between the back of the pad and the caliper piston. The caliper should then float freely back and forth with the piston retracted. Next, we'll want to remove the caliper itself. You'll need a 13 and 15 millimeter wrench. The bolt head is 13 millimeters and the anti-rotation nut is 15 millimeters. There are 2 bolts which will need to be removed to separate the caliper from the mounting bracket. With the caliper removed and gently set aside, slide the pads outward in the retaining groove. They'll come out by hand with a bit of fiddling. Before trying to remove the disc, make sure to take your T27 Torx bit and remove the brake disc locking bolt. It's easy to remove. If you live in the snow belt, the next step may be an exercise in frustration. Use a dead blow hammer and repeatedly strike the brake disc face or brake disc hat. Tap into your inner rage while doing so. If you're not reusing the disc, a bit of penetrating fluid can be a big help as the brake rotor can sometimes fuse to the hub. With the brake disc removed, use brake fluid and a wire brush to remove as much corrosion as you can. This will help the brake disc hat to sit flush against the hub. Spray it one last time and wipe it down with a paper towel. I'll now attempt to open the box containing the brake pads with one hand while trying to shoot video and pretend like this box has never been opened before. Yep, 4 pads, we are good to go. And now, the imaginary re-unboxing of the JHM brake discs. I make sure to clean the backside with brake cleaner spray, basically to remove any machining oil which may still be on the hat or rotor. Install the rear rotor, carefully sliding it up and under the caliper bracket. There is no hole drilled for the rotor locking bolt, so skip that step. Pads are next. They go in the same way they came out. The Carbotech pads are tapered on both ends, so I made my choice as to orientation and I'm sticking with it. Slide them firmly against the rotor. With the brake pads in place, carefully slide the caliper over the top and begin to install the top and bottom caliper bolts by hand. Tighten them down snugly to 35 Newton meters, being sure to counter hold them at the guide pin with a 15mm wrench. Audi says to replace these bolts with each use. I chose not to. That choice is up to you. With everything installed, give it one last spray down with brake cleaning fluid. It's now time to take the parking brake out of service position. With the Rostec VCDS connected, power on in the accessory mode, launch the program and hit the select button under Select Control Module. In the next window, click O3 ABS Brakes. Once that module is open, click O4 Basic Settings. You'll once again see the warning about using a battery charger. Click OK. In the pull-down menu at the top, select End Lining Changing Mode and then hit Go. Running should appear in the window, followed by Not Running and finally Finished Correctly. Remember, wait 30 seconds before closing the window and logging out of the VCDS program. Reinstall the rear wheels and torque the wheel bolts to 90 foot-pounds of torque. You're finished. As always, thanks for watching and be sure to visit my website, redmissracing.com. Hit that like button, share a few comments, and be sure to subscribe. See you all soon. Ape Factory over and out.